welcome to my channel. First of all, apologies for the delay. I don't know if you saw my post on my channel that I was a little bit behind. I watched episode 8 of And Just Like That first thing in the morning, as I usually do, but I spent some quality virtual time with my mom. My mom's my best friend, and sometimes when we get into phone calls and messages and videos, we can, go on and on and on. She's actually coming to visit me in October, so we're talking about plans and life and stuff. Second of all, I would like to send a big thank you to everyone that watched my last video recapping episode 7. The video did really well for my standards. My little itty bitty trying to grow channel, it did really good. And so I want to say thank you for the people that love the show, or people that are big fans of Sex and the City. Also for the people that hate watching the show or not even watching the show, but they enjoy the recaps that I've been doing. And then for everyone that engaged in the comment section, I just want to say that I love reading the comments, even if they're not, the nicest comments. I love reading your comments and then replying to them and engaging in conversations. It's probably one of my favorite things of having a YouTube channel. It's the engagement with everyone out there. So thank you. So episode 8, we are back to the big Aidan versus Big debate. Even though Big is not even alive anymore, we're still having this debate, and it's kind of not fair. But this episode was my favorite of this whole season, and probably out of, between season 1 and season 2, I think this episode, it's like the closest that we've gotten from the OG Sex and the City. From Aidan and Carrie's interaction, the way they are around each other, it felt so familiar. To the ladies, like the 3 court ladies having dinner with Aidan. Once again, it felt so Sex and the City. And even Seema, when she came in, she fit right in. And also that big, very important conversation, we'll get to it, that her and Carrie have outside of the hair salon. Like just that conversation itself, like made it for the whole episode. So we see that Carrie and Aidan are in the honeymoon phase of this, reconnection, and I thought it was so relatable. I think anyone that, has been through that phase when you first meet someone, you can relate to it. And when Miranda asks Carrie if they're moving too fast, I don't think so. I am not surprised by how fast they're moving, because the connection was already there. They're not two strangers. They're trying to get to know each other. Like, they're familiar with the way they act, their quirks, their sexual preferences. They know about each other's past. They have a history with each other. Also, when you are at a certain age, you know what you want. You know what you want, you know what you don't want. It's like, when you're in your 20s, you have no clue what you want out of a person. But once you get to a certain age, relationships actually become easier, because like right away, I want this, this, and that. I don't put up with this, this, and this. When you get back with an ex, it's so easy to get sucked back in, and not in a bad way. From a personal experience, I got back with an ex. It didn't last. But it was so easy, because once again, you already know each other. There's not an awkward phase. You can be brushing your teeth and he's peeing, right next to you, or the other way around. And once again, like, you know your sexual preferences, everything like it comes out natural. And when Miranda and Carrie, it's just the two of them after lunch, they're walking, and Miranda, she asks, like, don't you think you're moving too fast? I thought Miranda will pull that whole, then don't you go to Paris with him. Remember when Carrie was going to move to Paris with Alexander, the Barishnikov, but she was going to Paris with him, and then Miranda was like, and what are you gonna do? Eat croissants all day? And then Carrie's like, then don't you go to Paris with him? I was so surprised about how, understanding Miranda was this time, and not, hyper critical of Carrie's and Aidan's new relationship? Because come on, it's not like Carrie's dating some new man. It's Aidan. And speaking of Aidan, now we know he's divorced and he has 3 kids, 14, 17, and 20. And his wife lives close to where he lives. He lives in a farm in Virginia. And so they rotate every other week. The kids go with her and then they stay with Aidan and the farm. In the weeks that Aidan doesn't have the kids, he goes to New York to be with Carrie. So Carrie and Aidan have been doing this love hotel making for about 2 months, and it's getting expensive. Like Carrie tells Shay that they're spending a fortune in hotels. So she goes to Shay and says, hey, can we Airbnb your place? And when we're there, you can stay in my place, so you don't have to stay at your grandma's place or something. So they go to Shay's place, and I was laughing because I was just like, how many stars on Airbnb does Shay have? I mean, probably like 1 star for location, maybe 2 stars for location, cleanliness, and maybe because it's a brand new place. This person doesn't even have utensils at their place. Not even salt and pepper. I used to Airbnb my place for many years, and this was like long time ago when Airbnb was just like, you know, blowing up. And I had at least, this is what you have to have, like the bare minimum at your place if you're gonna rent it out: 2 spoons, 2 forks, 2 knives, 2 plates, 2 mugs. And if you want to go above and beyond, now people go like way above and beyond, you know, they offer like fancy coffees and, you know, bottles of champagne and wine, all of that. But for me, I at least had like some coffee, you know, for them to have in the morning, and then the kitchen like basics, you know, cooking oil or olive oil, salt and pepper, pots and pans. And you telling me that, oh, and then like little shampoos, you know, toiletries. But Shay doesn't have like even like wooden spoons or cutting board. Like how are you getting renters? So that makes Aidan and Carrie go to this, it looked very fancy store, looked like a Williams Sonoma. I remember the first time I walked into a Williams Sonoma at the mall, I was just like, oh my god, everything's so shiny and pretty. And then you look at the price tag, I was like, oh, knife in the heart, nope, let's go to Target. So I don't understand if they don't have a Target close by, maybe not, but I mean, they're rich. So they go to this place where there's like tiny little graters for like sea salt. I've never seen one of those. But the fact that Carrie was saying that she wanted to save money by staying at Shay's place because they were spending a fortune on hotels, and you basically like furniture their whole place. I mean, is she going to give you a refund or a discount for that? Because you basically got pots and pans, utensils, like an espresso machine. Do you know how much those cost? So Shay stopped by to check on them because somebody, you know, called the leasing office or whatever, saying that she was having like, you know, people stay there. So she asked Aidan and Carrie why, because they're so like lovey-dovey with each other. So Shay asked, why didn't that work out the first time? And then both of them are just like, until Carrie looks at Aidan and she says, because I made a mistake. So Carrie and Aidan are talking about her going to visit him at the farm. And the farm, the way that he described it, looked like a beautiful, you know, red brick, old, you know, English countryside type of house. And she's like, she Googled it and she's like, ooh, yeah, I want to go there. And he wants to introduce his boys to her. I was like, okay, now we might be moving a little too fast, Aidan. But Carrie, at the end, we see that she goes. We don't see her actually at the farm. I think that's going to be in the next episode. But we see her with her luggage saying, you know, she's going to visit him. And I was just like, girlfriend, don't you remember that whole cabin in the woods fiasco that you went with Aidan, because he had a cabin in the woods and you had the most awful time? Actually, like Big had to come in and rescue her. Remember the whole Batman and Robin thing that him and Aidan were fighting in the mud, and she's like, stop it, you are grown men, what are you gonna do at a farm? And maybe that will be the thing that it will cause them not to work out. Like, it wasn't big. It was because they live different lifestyles. Like, she's a city gal and he's a country boy. And at one point, like, there won't be enough compromise on, you know, each part that it will make it work. So I think they're setting up a big farm disappointment for her. She's going to be like, take me back to Manhattan or the Hamptons. So maybe we will still get a summer in the Hamptons with Seema and Carrie. Who's gonna get their heart broken? If it's going to be Aidan again, or this time will be Carrie. And during the conversation that Carrie has with Miranda when they're walking on the street, she says that she's been having the best orgasms of her life with Aidan. And she said that's probably because, you know, when they were, you know, Carrie and Aidan 1.0, she was holding a lot of herself back because of Big. And I was like, no, girlfriend, it was because of guilty conscience. Like, you couldn't give yourself like fully to each man because, you know, you're cheating one with the other one, and it was just so messy. You know, she's having the best orgasm of her life. And I was like, oh, not even with your husband of 15 years? She's so sex blinded. And I used to be like that. I used to be on my 20s. Whenever the sex was great with the guy, I would think he was the love of my life. Like, I'm going to marry him, we're gonna have kids, oh my God, I see a whole future, just because the sex was so good. Being sex blinded never works. Carrie asked Miranda, and this line felt to me just like something that Carrie, OG Carrie from Sex and the City would say. Was Big a big mistake? And I was like, oh my God, like, really? I mean, you were married for what, like 15 years? Was that not a good marriage? Because it seemed like her and Big had a great run, you know, from listening to records together and cooking their salmon and dancing in the kitchen. I think somebody needs to tell Carrie that it's okay to love more than one person. And when she asked Miranda if Big was a big mistake, Miranda just like speechless. She said, I don't even know what to say. And it's funny because it brought me back to episodes of Sex and the City when I think Carrie was back with Big, and then Miranda, they were like at a thrift store, and Miranda was like, Carrie, I mean it. This is the last time. Last time I'm going through this with you. I'm not holding your hand anymore. I'm not gonna pick up your phone calls when you're crying. That's it. For Miranda to be, you know, sort of understanding and not judging Carrie, because she could have said like, really, you going back with Aidan after all you've been through? And then finally, they're using the actress that plays Seema so good on this episode. She had a scene with Carrie that was the best scene. Seema, it's having a hard time dealing with, you know, Carrie's, you know, love story with Aidan. She has been ignoring Carrie's calls and texts because Carrie wants to get the girls together, Miranda, Charlotte, and Seema, to go to dinner with Aidan, and then Seema doesn't want to go. She's just been having a hard time watching Carrie be so happy, and she's happy for Carrie, but you know, she said to Carrie when they're having the conversation outside of the hair salon, she said, you've had two great loves in your life, and I have had none. That conversation between two friends, two girlfriends, was so relatable. I'm sure a lot of people out there will relate to Seema, like the way she let herself be so vulnerable. She even said, I'm going to sound petty and pathetic. And for me, if you see things from like the outside and don't really listen to what she was saying, you might even say that she was jealous of Carrie's relationship. But it was such a mature and honest conversation, because Seema was saying that she doesn't want to do the Hamptons anymore. She got the deposit back, she canceled the house, and Carrie was just like, why, without even talking to me? And she said, I just don't want to spend my whole summer being a third wheel. And even though Carrie says, oh, he won't even be there the whole time, it's every other week or something like that. But for Seema, it's just like, you know, I was looking forward to a single girl summer. She basically said that, I'm so happy for you, I am, but your happiness, it's not good for my mental health. And oh man, like, the guts to be able to say that to your friend. Of course, Carrie, tries to fight it. She's like, no, because Seema asks for space. She's like, we'll be fine, but please, I just need space. And Carrie said that space brings more space, like between friends. I think she said like space breathes more space. And of course, she's referencing Samantha. And I thought that was a great plot line because, most people think that Seema came into the show to be a replacement for Samantha. So Carrie's just like, I just got my Samantha back. I don't want to lose you. So Seema got her space, but for how long? Because it felt like 48 hours. I don't know, granted that, Aidan comes every other week. So maybe when her and Carrie had that talk, Aidan was there, then a week had passed. And then when they meet him for dinner, Seema walks in and she says, thank you for the space, and she joins them for dinner. One thing that I want to point out on that conversation between Seema and Carrie, it's when Seema mentions the Hamptons and then she got the deposit back. Carrie's response was, oh, I totally forgot about the Hamptons. And I was like, how do you forget something like that? That you had summer plans with your best girlfriend or one of your best girlfriends? I mean, you have to be really self-centered to forget something like that. Or I know she's like super into like living on boyfriend island right now, but I thought it was kind of selfish that she's like, oh, I forgot about the Hamptons. Last thing about Carrie and Aidan, when Seema comes to dinner, oh, this is gonna get so juicy if it happens. When Seema walks in the restaurant, and it's Charlotte, Miranda, Aidan, and Carrie, and then she says to Carrie, thank you for the space. When Seema walks in, and it was a sequin, but that sparkly black jumpsuit or pants or what, she looked like, oh, like a goddess. But when she walks in, did you guys notice Aidan's face? And I mean, the camera made a point to show his face. Was that on purpose? Because he was like drooling for Seema. I don't know. He had that, almost that meet and cute moment when you first see someone and you just like googly eye for them. The way Aidan looked at Seema, I mean, it was, the director could have done something with Aidan, like where he's looking down or he looks up like, very like, nonchalant. But the way he looked at Seema, I was like, this is what's going to happen. Seema and Aidan, because we all keep wanting Seema to have her happy ending. Seems like season 1 of And Just Like That. We want her to find someone, her, the one that she's been wanting to, love and be loved and all of that. She like, Seema's a romantic at heart. But I think that her and Aidan might get together. It might get messy, but oh, it'll be juicy. So Miranda gets her internship. She finally gets the very wanted, very important internship that she was applying for before she even met Shay, but she dropped that to follow Shay to LA. Let's all forget that phase. But when she gets there, she meets other interns and they're like 20 somethings. And one has been there for what, 4 months, and the other one maybe 6 months. Miranda's boss, she's going on maternity leave, and she picks Miranda to replace her, to be the supervisor. And the two 20-somethings already have a problem with Miranda because Miranda's the one going to meetings and taking notes. And Miranda feels bad because she mentions to her boss saying that, there's the 2 other girls that have been here for way longer. I just got here. It's my 2nd day. And then the supervisor had to like, smack Miranda in the face into her senses. Like, look, like basically like show her resume to her saying, you have 30 years of experience in corporate law. You graduated first of your class on Harvard. Was it Harvard, right? Yeah. From Harvard, you belong here and you deserve this position. And Miranda was like, I know, I come from a place of privilege. And I was like, what privilege? No, Miranda, you bust your ass to get to where you are. Remember, she was putting what, 70 hours a week or more. She fought her way to be the head of the law firm, and I was like, Miranda, you deserve this. And Charlotte should take notes, because Charlotte also starts her new job at the gallery, and she's going to be working there full time. But the thing that she worries the most, it's her little pouch. She keeps like looking at a picture of herself when she was in her, what, maybe 20s or 30s. Oh my gosh, that's so painful, because we do that a lot. Whenever I get a throwback Thursday or like memories on Facebook, and they show me pictures on my socials when I was like my 20s, and I was in like in a tiny bikini, and I was like, oh man, like no wrinkles. Charlotte, she says like, oh, menopause is evil. I'm very familiar with having a little tummy. They don't go anywhere. It doesn't matter like how skinny you get, how healthy you eat, how much you exercise. Sometimes a pouch won't go away. I think Charlotte should just look into body sculpt, or like there are procedures that you don't even have to go under the knife. Remember, like back in the day, you have to get liposuction with the tube this thick that goes into your tummy and just like sucks all the fat. Now with laser, all the housewives and the Kardashians, they all do it. They say they didn't have surgery just because they didn't go under the knife, but they do all the laser. Charlotte is rich as F. If she wants it, if that little pouch of hers, it's such a big insecurity for her, go take care of it, But the fact that that's what she worried the most about starting a new job. Once again, Charlotte, look at your accomplishments. Look at your resume. You ran an art gallery for so many years. I did not like though the scene where Charlotte goes into the art gallery, but it takes the head of the gallery. Is she like the head of the gallery, the owner, whatever? It's this plus size woman. She comes down the stairs in a crop top, and it takes a plus size woman to make Charlotte feel better about herself. I didn't like that. Like, so if a skinny lady was the head of the gallery and walked down the stairs, what, Charlotte will feel even worse? Like, they used a plus size woman to make another woman like feel better about herself and take all the spandex. And I know that wasn't the show's intention. I think they were going for an empowerment moment. It just didn't land well. So what do you think? Do you think Bennifer 2.0, oh, I'm sorry, Carrie and Aidan, I think Bennifer 2.0 was a big inspiration for And Just Like That, but do you think they will last? Because, when people rekindle relationships over the years, people grow and change. They've both been through a lot. Aidan went through a divorce, 3 kids. Being a dad changes you. And Carrie, she got married, lost the love of her life. So I don't know, do you think that will last? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also hit the little bell notification button so you don't miss any future videos, and I'll see you next time.